All right, Kevin, thank you so much for being able to join me today on this interview. Let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Lionel Akpovi, and I'm the president of our local not-for-profit organization, Realtist of Fresno County. And I'm here today joined by Kevin Lisitsin, or a chaplain on our board.
Yeah.
And he has graciously provided his time to really kind of give us some information about the insurance business, the insurance aspect of homeownership that a lot of people don't know much about. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have you here, Kevin. And Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Lionel. I'm stoked to have this opportunity to share about homeowners insurance. I do own my own farmers insurance agency in Fresno and Clovis. I have two agents that work with me there. I've been an agent now for 6 years, and the majority of my book is homeowners insurance. So I work with a lot of folks that are purchasing homes, especially first-time home buyers. And so I love what I get to do every day.
Right.
I work for the insurance company I do work for is Farmers Insurance, and it's the company I've worked for with the same office now for about 5 years.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So with that being said, I want to kind of dive into some questions that I think most people have, and
Sure.
especially related to homeowners insurance. So if you're ready to begin, let me start with the first question, Kevin. And
Yeah, let's do
uh,
it.
so I think one of the first things is, do I need home insurance before closing an escrow? And if so, what's the best way for me to get it in time to close?
Yeah, so homeowners insurance is required when you close escrow. Generally, what's happening is the bank wants to know that the customer purchasing the home, regardless of the structure, regardless of the shape of the house, is
Okay.
smoking that check every month, right? So
Right.
what happens is your insurance company is going to, the insurance company is going to pay for that customer to live somewhere else,
Okay.
okay, and fix the house. So there's like two different things going on at once,
Right. Right.
and the customer is not having to pay for those two things, right? So they're still paying that check every month.
Right.
Yeah, they're still paying that check every month to the mortgage company. And so what happens is when you sign up with the insurance, escrow takes the first full year payment, right? That first full
Okay.
year payment, and then they multiply the next year in that year's payment. So you basically pay a year in advance. So
Ah.
the following year, when it closes, when it renews again, it has money in there because every month you've been paying it.
Right. Right. So it's sort of like you have funds in an escrow account that is applied towards insurance coverage.
Yeah, so I guess once that escrow account's opened up, it doesn't just close out after the home's done.
I
You
got
know,
you.
they keep taxes and stuff in there. It's always on, which
Okay.
is kind of
That's
neat.
great. That's great information. And with that being said, what would you say are some top three things, important things that people should know about the buying homeowners insurance? What are some three key things that you think are very important?
Yeah, really think there's a lot more than three, but to just
Okay.
narrow it down to three, one
Right.
of them is you have different types of carriers that are out there. Working with a local broker or a local insurance agent is, I think, really big thing when it comes to homeowners insurance. There's a
Okay.
lot of online companies out there right now offering just plug in your information. Here's the crazy thing about insurance. You can have 100 insurance farmer agents in Fresno, right?
Okay.
Every one of us is going to input information differently.
Huh. How
You
is
would
that?
be, well, because we're in front of a computer and we're just putting in information,
I
right?
got
So
you.
you want $100,000 of liability, $300,000 of liability. All of us will have a different way we think of it, right?
So
So
that
it's a
that means,
conversation.
go ahead. Sorry.
It's a conversation. So number one is make sure you have a conversation with your insurance agent about the coverages that you're getting, because
Okay.
it's not a one glove fits all situation.
Right. Right.
The second thing is in the insurance policy, you have a deductible. That deductible is the only thing that you'll ever have to come up with. God forbid you have a covered claim, right?
Okay.
And on top of that, you could have actual cash value. So that means depreciation. So, like if I was to say there was a TV in your living room you bought at Costco 5 years ago,
Right.
and when you bought 5 years of depreciation of that TV could drop the value down to $50, right?
Right.
But it
Right.
might cost you $700 to get a new TV. So actual cash value is the value of the loss of the value at that time. A lot of insurance companies offer ACV. It's called ACV.
Okay, so loss value at that time.
Correct. Actual cash value. So
Okay.
you can get with me at least with farmers replacement cost. So
Okay.
replacement cost is an option. A lot of carriers offer too, not just farmers, but a lot of carriers offer that. So
Okay.
what happens is you have that TV gets damaged in a covered claim that costs you $50, right? To that's what they pay you.
Uh-huh.
And then you go out and buy a brand new TV and it's $700. So in that case, you would get a check for $650.
I got you.
Value of replacing that TV was 700.
Right,
So
right.
that's the second thing. So the first thing is talk to your local agent, make sure you're at least getting a local agent involved, the actual cash value versus replacement cost. And then third, and maybe not as important, but it definitely is try to combine your home and your auto because you
A
do
lot of
save
money.
money. Yeah, you do save money when you do that. And
Okay.
so and so that's why meeting with an agent and going over it, if nothing else, Lionel, at least you know what you have is the
Right.
right value.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then another question is how, well, you kind of, I mean, you've already given me a lot of information here, but in just if you want to dumb it down for us,
Yeah.
how does homeowners insurance really work? You kind of already, enlightened us a little bit on that, but for
Yeah.
someone who has no clue whatsoever what the purpose of home insurance is, how can you, give us a little bit of information on that?
Yeah. So homeowners insurance is there for sudden, catastrophic, and accidental loss.
Okay.
So a tree suddenly falls on your house, right? Water pipe bursts in the wall and there's water flooding your home, right?
Yeah.
That's sudden, right? You accidentally knocked over a candle and caught your curtain on fire. Now your house is burned down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sudden, accidental, and catastrophic. So those are the things that homeowners insurance is really good for.
Okay.
I always tell people, you want us to be able to provide insurance for a dollar amount you're not able to afford. Once you can't
Okay.
afford it, call in the claim.
I
But
see.
when you can't afford it, and I know this is difficult, it's not like but every time you call your insurance carrier, you call in a claim, it's on your record, you're calling it in. Again, a good reason why you want a local agent to work with you. So you can text, call, or email them and be like, hey, this just happened. What do you recommend I do? A lot of times agents will have vendors that contact us directly and we can send them straight to your house just like that.
I see.
Versus even if you call the best of the best, you're going to call an 800 number. They're gonna put you in queue, and then you're going to get somebody to call you back and tell you
Right.
what to do. Right.
Right.
So it's really good to have a local agent that can work with you. I mean,
Absolutely.
essentially, you're buying a 150, 200, $400,000 home, right? It's a huge investment. It's probably
And
one of the biggest investments you'll have. And
absolutely.
you're paying like $40 a month for this thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So like it's just so imperative, I think, that people have a local agent.
Right.
My
Someone
thing,
reliable. Yeah.
correct. Yeah. So in situations where you do have a claim, because there's going to be so many scenarios that come up, you
Yeah.
have somebody you can call on that can help you.
Right. Okay. No, this is great. Thank you so much. Now, what sort of information is needed for a home insurance quote? So if I'm considering buying a property and, I want to know, okay, well, what would I need? And obviously, you have to have insurance. So if
Yeah.
I reach out to you, Kevin, I say, hey, what do I need to do? What would be the process of me getting a quote?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and I'm thankful that you asked it. A lot of carriers will ask different things. The majority of it's going to be the homeowner's information, the new homeowner's information, and the address for the home they're buying.
Okay.
With me, I actually need to have the date of birth of the person, the primary homeowner as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
it's
if you
pretty
called
simple
me, it would
enough.
be one more time.
It's pretty simple enough, right?
Oh gosh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's pretty basic. Yeah.
Now, what would I need, okay, about homeowners insurance as a first-time home buyer? What do I need to know? We've kind of gone over quite a few things here, and obviously there's so much information regarding insurance that a lot of people aren't aware of. But what do I need to know about the homeowners insurance as a first-time home buyer? I think you've kind of just explained to us how easy it is to get a quote and get information on that. But what would I need, in terms of, I know we talked about just having your general information as a homeowner,
Mhm.
your date of birth and things like that. But is there anything else that we would need to know as far as that's concerned?
I think the biggest thing is understanding that actual cash value versus replacement cost.
Okay, so going back to that, okay,
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing for me, because
okay,
when it comes down to the actual actually needing the policy,
right,
an endorsement like that could cost a client like $30 a year.
I got
So
you.
it's not a huge investment. Now quantifying it, right? What's the
Right,
actual cash value? Is it $400 cheaper a year? Man,
right,
you really think about that one. Where is it really just $40 more a year, and that company offers it and the other ones don't?
right. I
So
see.
that's the big thing, yeah. And then also, from my understanding, a lot of lenders and real estate agents have partners, right, that they work with for insurance companies. And
Right,
every insurance company that they work with, they have to. I always suggest to give them one or two people that they can get a quote from,
I
and,
see.
and really stay away from those online companies. I'm not going to mention any of their names,
Right,
but
right.
there's no personal contact between asking the question, could they have insurance? Yeah, they're definitely going to have insurance.
Yeah,
When it comes to homeowners insurance, and maybe you have a ring that you want to have covered, or you have stuff in your house you just don't know.
right,
I would just hate for you to be the person referring them to a company that's online. That
right,
might
right.
not be a good experience if you're trying to get a referral from them later. So
Absolutely.
like, for the basic consumer out there watching this, just make sure, no problem, save money, get quotes, understand what you're doing, get that 100%. I do the same thing myself. That's 2 thumbs up. I get that myself, but you
Right.
want to make sure that you're also making an educated decision. So
Okay.
having a local agent you can chat with is important.
Okay. Okay. Good. And so, with all that being said, obviously there's a huge value for having homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
What are some benefits? Besides the general, what are some benefits? So, if I'm getting home, obviously, is to protect my investment. But more than that, I know there are lots of other benefits that people can really take advantage of as far as the homeowners insurance is concerned. What are some of those benefits?
Some of the benefits would be, well, first of all, just you need to have it for the loan. And
Right.
then, if you ever have a claim that happens, you have somebody that you can call on to give you advice. I've had situations where like military families where like the husband or wife were gone,
I
the
see.
claim happened, and in this situation, she didn't know really what to do.
I got
And
you.
he emailed her, hey, call Kevin, he'll take care of you. And then I basically walked her through the whole entire process,
Right.
because
Right.
her husband was gone. So it
I
was
see.
really a really good time for us. We call it the farmer's hug, to
Okay.
come in and give it. But I mean, for anytime you have that interaction,
Yeah.
any sort of other benefit, some companies offer Identity Shield. You can
Okay.
have that as a endorsement to insurance policies. Um,
So is that sort of like as an incentive as part of them signing up, or no? Is that
No,
part of it?
you pay for it. Yeah,
Okay.
you
Okay.
pay for it. Yeah. Um, can't really think. It's a good question, but I honestly can't think of much more. I mean, you do get discounts in your auto insurance,
Okay.
so
Right. You talked about
that's
that earlier.
that's a huge thing.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. No, this is good. Now, why does my home insurance company want to come inspect my home? Like, what would be their purpose of inspecting my home? I think I have a general idea, but for
Yeah. Well, again, goes back to purchasing, let's say, $200,000 home. You're wanting me to insure it for $400 a year.
okay.
And then I roll it, there's a tree that's been like leaning on top of the roof, right?
Right. Right.
And so it's like, obviously so essentially what the homeowners insurance carrier is wanting is that they're wanting to go by, take a picture of the house, make sure what I input it in the system is true and accurate. So it has the correct value. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two is we're never going by there again.
Okay.
So you're probably going to have us forever because you're never going to change your homeowner's insurance on your mortgage. It's
Right. Right.
really it's very unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, that tree that you trimmed, you're not trimming it anymore. So it's like literally growing on top of your roof, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you can have a huge claim from that. So the reason why we do it is because we only go out there once for two reasons. One is to make sure the investment is clean and good. So
Okay.
there's, debris is minimal around us, around the home for liability reasons. The structure itself is sound. There's no pre-existing damage. I have a story I'll tell you about. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
pre-existing damage. Dude, what's up? It was
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
And then the other thing was just making sure that there's nothing actually touching the roof, you
Okay.
know. And probably for me, I like the fact that I go out and take a picture myself of the home just to make sure all those things I just told you. And then farmers actually goes behind me and does it.
I see. Okay.
So they
Okay.
make sure I'm doing my job to
Right.
do that. So, and it does come up through the process of the home because I don't do it prior to knowing the customer wants to move forward with us.
Right. I see.
So from the point where at least, we send that evidence of insurance over to the loan officer or then we start communicating to the customer if there's going to be any changes that need to happen to that policy.
I got you. Okay. So the main purpose is really to check for any hazards right before you pick up. You're gonna
Oh
put
yeah.
the policy on. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so, one of the things I want to ask is how can I lower the cost of my homeowner's insurance? Is there a way, what are some tricks of the trade, if I should say, for me to be able to lower the cost of my homeowner's policy?
Well, one thing is just get quotes from other carriers.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest way to do it because you'll be surprised every year, even with our policies, they're going to go up a little bit or down. I've even seen
Okay.
based on labor rate, based on year of home,
Okay.
one story or two story. So every year there's a small percentage that it'll fluctuate. And usually it's under 5%. And that's with every company. It'll just fluctuate.
I see.
So
Right.
it could be fluctuating out of what it should normally cost.
I
And
got you.
there's no way to know unless you get a quote. So it's always good to get that to make sure what you're paying is reasonable.
Right.
The
Now,
second thing,
go ahead. Sorry.
the other things is to make sure that as a consumer, you're communicating to your agent, what your occupations are, because every year different discounts come up. So
Ah, okay.
if you have an occupation that might offer a discount, first responders get discounts, doctors get discounts, real estate agents get discounts, and every carrier will be different on what discounts they give their.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, teachers are a huge one. Nurses are a huge one.
Okay.
Real estate agents, again, they get discounts.
So
But they're
making
all,
sure you disclose your profession is important, right? Obviously, I
what's that?
said making sure you disclose your profession is very important if you want to get those discounts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then bundle everything. So like some people will have, their motorcycle with another carrier and I'll quote it and I'll be like, well, I'm the same dollar amount plus you're getting this off
Ah, I see. Okay.
home. So it's like, all the money's coming out of the same bucket.
Right. Okay.
So if it's $5 here and $20 here, I mean, that's $25 more a month. That adds up.
Okay. Right. Absolutely. Okay.
It's
No.
money that you've earned. So you're giving it away by not doing it right.
Right. Okay. No, thank you. Now, one of the biggest things with energy efficiency and whatnot, with most of these homes coming with solar panels now, do solar panels affect the homeowner's insurance policy? Like, if so, how?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and it's one I'm getting a lot more now. A lot of panels are covered by the solar company too. So always
Okay.
make sure you read your current contract.
I see.
And again, I'm a farmer's insurance agent, so I can't be speaking. I'm not speaking to all the other carriers that are out there
Right.
uh, because they're all going to act upon this differently. So one option is going to be it's covered by your structure A, which in my world, coverage A is building property. It's
Okay.
attached to the building. It's
Okay.
attached to the building, so it's covered automatically
Wait,
without even me knowing about it, right?
okay.
Now let's say you have a complete loss that God forbid you're like, holy cow, my house just caught on fire and I lost everything.
Right.
Unfortunately, those things happen.
Yeah.
And so what you want to do is you want to make sure your agent knows the amount of panels you have on your house
I see.
so he can add or she can add those to your policy to increase the coverage A. So
I
you
got
have the
you.
right dollar amount to cover that sort of addition.
I see. Okay.
Now, if they're off your structure and they're not on your home, but they're but they're on poles out somewhere else and around your land or something,
Yeah.
that structure, that would be separate structures because they would still be added, but that dollar amount's even smaller. So you want to make sure that if that case, you definitely reach out to your insurance agent.
And make sure that that's okay. They're aware of. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Now, and in this question, what is considered home contents coverage? What does that mean?
Contents coverage. So basically, if I picked up your house, turned it upside down and shook it, anything that fell out of your house would be considered contents.
I see. And then what sort of coverage is that? Is there sort of like a separate like coverage for that specifically, or is it part of the umbrella, obviously, because you're insuring the entire property?
Yeah. So again, that's going to be carrier specific, and it's going to be a percentage of the dwelling amount.
I see. Okay. No, these are good, Kevin. Thank you so much. Now,
good question. Another thing to think about with that is like you could have. Everyone knows that you have a bedroom, so you have to have a bed. You have a living room, so you have a couch. You have a kitchen, so you have a kitchen table. You have furniture, right? What ends up happening, every carrier will treat stuff differently. But say like art, you might have $100,000 worth of art, and $100,000 worth of art could be covered, but that's going to absorb all of your personal property, right? With that dollar amount. So anything that's specific in higher value, it could be covered. However, it will absorb the over dollar amount because that dollar amount is the premium you're paying.
Right. Okay. That's
so you need to talk to your specific agent and make sure they understand what you have if you really want insurance coverage on it.
For those items. Okay. No, this is good. Now, how can I make sure that I have coverage for my valuables? Now, you just talked about it in a sense is make sure that you're very specific with your agent and making sure that they're aware of your personal belongings, the items that you have in your home that are of great value. Now, how can I make sure that they actually provide that coverage on there? Now, is that something that I should be looking for in my policy?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a part of it. I don't know. I've never seen a policy that doesn't have it. So coverage A, coverage B, coverage C, coverage D, they're all right down your list there, and they define by the number what the value dollar amount is.
Okay.
And it's always a percentage from what I've seen. It's normally a percentage, if I may, of what the building coverage is.
Okay.
So like something to know when you're buying a home, what are you purchasing, Lionel? You're purchasing land, location, and building, right? I'm not insuring the land and location.
Correct.
So there's a price difference of what it's going to cost to rebuild the home versus what it costs for you to actually purchase the home.
Right. Okay.
So sometimes the cost to rebuild it will be here, even though you paid this for it.
Right.
Because you're North Fresno, or you're in Clovis, or you're, new build, new structure, but you have 5 acres. Well, you just purchased 5 acres. That's empty land with no structure. It's covered. There's no additional cost. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's something to consider when you're thinking of those numbers.
I see. Now, what type of insurance do I need if I want to have like an Airbnb for my house? I think in this day and age, we have a lot of people who are converting their homes into an Airbnb. Is there sort of a specific coverage or policy that we should try to have for those?
That's a good question, Lionel, and it actually is not normally covered in your homeowner's insurance. So if you have an Airbnb bedroom in your house or a separate structure that has it, and your insurance company doesn't know about it, there is no coverage, and there is literally no ignorance in insurance. You can't say, "Well, I didn't know." Well, you didn't know all the way to the bank because now you're paying for your loss.
Right. Okay, I got you.
You can't be ignorant. You can't pull that card. Unfortunately,
Right.
My tonality changes a lot.
Yeah.
Because I get into it with customers where they're like, "Well, I don't want to pay more or do that." I'm like, "Well, just know I'm noting your account and you don't have insurance, so you have no choice at this point."
Right.
Because if someone that you're making money on goes into that home, they don't have owner
occupied.
Yeah, it's not just owner occupied anymore. They don't have pride of ownership. So you have somebody that's staying in your house, has zero pride of ownership, that causes a claim to happen.
I
You
see.
need to make sure you have a policy
Right.
that's going to cover that.
So
So there,
disclosing is important.
correct. And there are policies out there that cover that.
Okay.
So it's just get the right insurance policy so you can have the right coverage. I
Yeah.
actually have a few customers that told their insurance carrier that they had Airbnb, and whoever the agent was, like, didn't know what that was,
I
and said,
see.
okay, no problem. And I'm like,
Ah,
there's
wow.
a problem there. I
Right,
can
right.
promise you they're not covering you. Call them right now and ask them specifically. Ask for a supervisor.
I
And
got
sure
you.
enough, 100% of the time, they're like, no, we do not cover you. If you
Wow.
have a rental inside your home, that's now I say that now, but tomorrow there could be an endorsement. So,
Okay.
even though it's April 15th, 2020, that there could be an endorsement tomorrow to change that.
I
And
see.
there are in most states.
And then is this also similar to rental properties? So, I've had in my experience, I've had some landlords that, you tell them to make sure that they notify their insurance carrier about their home becoming a rental property. And some are afraid to do it because they're afraid that there might be a spike in their policy, you know.
Well, that's true, but you either are afraid of paying for the whole entire loss yourself
Okay.
or you're not. I mean, an investor is an investor,
Right.
transfer that risk over to your monthly bills, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
If you're scared of $50, why in the heck are you investing?
That's a very good point. And that
I don't,
absolutely.
I mean, you can be scared all the way around the corner, but the reality is, hey, if you have to charge more for rent, then that doesn't come from your pocket, right? It comes
Right.
from the person who's renting. And I've rented and people do. It's just at some point there's a reality to it where even if you have more than one investing home, and that will be a relative statement depending upon who's watching this,
Yeah.
you may need an umbrella policy. Whoa, that's more money, right? $25 a month though to protect your assets of all
Right.
that work you just did. I mean, come on now. Come
Yeah.
on now.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, are you an investor or are you pretending? Like, come
Right.
on,
Right.
you can't go back and change it.
Yeah.
You're living a legacy for the next person to trip and fall on your property.
Right. Right. Okay.
Literally, dude, I had a customer who I am not my customer. It's a scenario I heard of where their neighbor lost his job or whatever it was, walked in front of their house, tripped and fell on the
Ah,
crack. Everybody in the neighborhood knew was there.
wow.
She hurt herself, sued the landowner who was owning the property, and then the husband sued because for pain and suffering because he couldn't
Wow.
be with his wife in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
People do it, man. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to you, and I sure hope to God it never does.
Right, but it's no, it's not. That's very, very good to know. Absolutely. So obviously, with everything going on with the coronavirus and the pandemic, and there's been lots of changes and fluctuating information out there, and I think all the companies and various industries are, obviously are adapting to those changes. One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you can really talk about this a little bit, is are there any especially with insurance, and I'm not sure if I'm kind of out of your line of expertise here, but if you're talking about insurance coverage and losses that some small businesses, independent contractors are facing right now, does insurance cover their losses, if they're experiencing a shutdown because of the pandemic?
That's a good question, and I appreciate it. I'm actually getting that question a lot.
Okay.
And also, I own 3 restaurants, so I insure those 3 restaurants. So
You're a
I get
busy man.
the pain pleasure here. I understand the question. I would say I'm not able to answer that question specifically because you got to file a claim
I
and
see.
see how the claim responds. What ends up
Okay.
happening, right, within the insurance world is you have to have something that penetrates the building or the
Okay.
loss. Something physically needs to happen so you cannot be open.
I
And
see.
then instantly that comes into play because the policy will respond that you can't operate business. So you've lost business because you had a water pipe burst in your
Right.
building.
You had an actual physical intrusion or
It has
okay.
to be a physical intrusion. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, there's arguments right now that a virus is a physical virus because it's touching the floor. This one's
Uh,
touching surfaces.
I see. So I mean, so there's a lot of technicality that's still being figured out with.
Of my pay range, I can't. Yeah,
Okay. No, this is
unfortunately,
good.
I can't answer that question.
Right, right.
I would
Okay.
just recommend, under any and all circumstances, you're paying a premium and your life's changing, right?
Right,
Nobody
right,
wants that to ever happen. And insurance is a transfer of risk. Think of insurance as a way to financially transfer overall risk. So you're saying, hey, I have a risk assessment of $50,000 a day, right? It's a lot of risk assessment. So you're going to pay a premium for that. So if that $50,000 a day goes away, then you're going to have to cover that with insurance.
right.
Or
Okay.
maybe $50,000 a month is probably more realistic. That's what I meant to say. But
Okay.
whatever it is, you need to make sure that you have that. You know, that's why you get insurance.
Yeah.
So I get the pain to it. Believe me, I get it. You just have to understand that this specific pandemic is new to everybody.
Right, right. So everybody's just learning that. Okay.
Yeah, what a lot of insurance carriers are doing now to help for the pandemic is
Yeah,
they're lowering insurance rates.
I see.
So that's not necessarily happening in homeowners insurance. If anything, those should go up because people are told to stay home, right?
And that's my next question. I have
But
a
the
question about that.
homes aren't actually adjusting at all that I'm aware of because their usage is similar to the same. If anything, there's more of a balance because you have more people home, so there could be more accidents, but there's
Yeah,
going to have less thefts because there's more people home.
that's
So
a
it's
good point.
kind of a balance there, I think. But again, I'm not an adjuster and I don't work for the state, so I don't know how they'll ever read that.
Right, right.
Auto insurance, though, like farmers went down 25%. We gave 20% off all of our business customers because they're not open for
Right.
business. Might
Okay.
even more discounts coming depending upon your actual your actual policy type.
I
But I
see.
think right now, that's how most insurance carriers are extending a hand to help.
Right, to help out their customers. Okay. So, as of right now, have you personally had any issues with, obviously with the coronavirus, have you had any issues affecting new home buyers who need coverage for their home?
Not for me. Like my business is basically the same. I went out yesterday and took a bunch of pictures of houses.
I see.
My assistant went out yesterday and took some pictures of houses. Mine's the same. The quantity is extremely different, but
Right.
the actual day-to-day operations, no, there's
Didn't
nothing
change
that
much.
changes.
Okay.
No, if I had a customer I had to go talk to the other day, and literally I walked up to him. I stayed my 6 feet distance. I talked about what I need to talk about. He saw that, and that was it.
Okay. Okay. Uh, and so, you know, it sounds like you haven't experienced a whole lot of changes in terms of your day-to-day operation, as you've said. Now, in terms of a homeowner, how is this coronavirus impacting like a claim, for example? Let's say in the midst of this, and again, this is hypothetical in a sense, unless you've had some experience with this already, but in this pandemic, it seems like a lot of businesses and a lot of things are slowed down, right? How would this impact someone who wants to put in a homeowner insurance claim, homeowner's insurance claim, for
It
example?
shouldn't.
Oh,
It shouldn't.
really? Okay.
Yeah, you have a claim, you got to call it in.
Okay.
I mean, it.
And no delays that you suspect by, with everything
Not,
going.
I think every company that's going to service it's going to have their own policies and procedures.
I got
But
you.
essentially, if you can't live in your house, we need to get you to we need to put you up somewhere to live.
Right. Immediately. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that might mean that you live in another house, another property a little bit longer than you would have anticipated.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you should never not file a claim. You should never not call your insurance agent and ask those questions.
Yeah.
Um, you didn't create the circumstances, and you sure in heck didn't create the circumstance of your house needing an insurance
Claim.
claim.
Right.
Yeah, as a consumer, you just got to put that pressure on your insurance carrier.
Okay. Okay. Now, one of the things that I've kind of been seeing a little bit is, in light of everything going on, are insurance companies offering policyholders any sort of like financial relief? For example, any sort of, relief with their premiums at all? Is there any sort of help?
Yeah, with auto, I know there is. I think I just went over that a little bit. With auto, I know there is. With business, I know there is. It's insurance carrier driven, so every carrier is doing it differently.
Okay.
Mostly, it's an auto and commercial business.
I got you. Okay, so they are doing things to sort of help in some aspect of the insurance.
Yeah. And I'm proud to say Farmers Insurance stepped it up. A lot of carriers are doing 20%. A lot
Right,
of
you mentioned
doing
that.
that. Farmers really stepped it up and is doing 25%.
Okay.
Uh, but anyhow, whatever it is, getting something that makes sense because the risk has changed.
Right. Okay, and then so just to kind of, in light of everything you mentioned, so it sounds like personally, you just talked about it earlier. You had to meet a client and you make sure you kept your distance. So it sounds like you have also made some changes personally within your business, obviously to
Oh,
adapt. And,
yeah, I forgot. There is something that changed in our business. So like we can't have office visits anymore.
okay, so your office is close to the public, right?
Yeah, you cannot go into my office.
Okay. Okay. So everything is being handled virtually, or in the case that you do have to meet a client, you make sure you keep your distance and taking your precautions.
Yeah, like we have hand sanitizer in my office. We have wipes so the team knows when they are in there. I have two employees that they know when they go in there, they wipe everything down. Uh,
Right.
Only those two people that have been in there since this pandemic started. I
Okay.
removed myself. I'm now working remotely from one of my restaurants.
Okay.
And so I'm not even in there. We do virtual like this. I
Okay.
communicate every day.
Right. Okay. No, this is great. Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate your time. Everybody, again, this is Kevin Lisitsin, a farmer's agent who owns his own business. And, we're glad to have him on our board of the Realtist of Fresno County. The amount of knowledge and depth of information that he's able to provide our community and his support is greatly appreciated. So, Kevin, with that being said, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I wish your family well and hope everybody's staying safe and healthy.
You as well, Lionel. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. You have a wonderful day. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, Kevin.
Hey, take care. Bye.